Greetings. This is the Ghetto Free Press, and I'm George Foster Rhines, and I'm standing on the Georgia State Capitol grounds. This is the Honorable Jimmy Carter, 39th President of the United States of America, and he was from the state of Georgia. Today I want to say to our elected officials, especially Governor Nathan Deal, Secretary of State Brian P. Kemp, and to the Georgia Attorney General. On the 14th of April in Brooks County, Georgia, one of the Quitman 10+2, Lula Smart, faced a Judge Richard Porter and a jury composed of an initial jury pool of 200 people. When the process was narrowed down, the juror or jury members consisted of only one black person. Only one black person was selected out of a pool of 200 to serve on Ms. Lula Smart trial that were filed against them back in 2010 under the heading of alleged voter fraud and mishandling of absentee ballots. Judge Porter ruled after 5 days that he had misspoke and that it was indeed a mistrial. Governor Nathan Deal and all elected officials in the state of Georgia, how much more money will be taken from the taxpayers of the state of Georgia to try this case again? The prosecution for the state of Georgia stated to the judge that he wanted to get another date to try Ms. Lula Smart. Yet it was brought out in the first trial that ended up in a mistrial. It was reignited, presented again about the mishandling of absentee ballots. But we have never seen in the local newspapers in South Georgia the fact that G.B.R. agents intimidated voters in Brooks County. The first mistrial was practically a whiteout by the news media in South Georgia and in the state of Georgia. Citizens could not even record in the front of the Brooks County Courthouse. And there were many other things that were done that the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, and the Independent Party, and the Green Party needs to review the transcript from the time that first mistrial started, as well as the second court case that ended in a mistrial. But even before that, Georgia Attorney General, along with Eric Holt of the Justice Department, needs to look into the justification in terms of who initiated the charges against these outstanding citizens in Brooks County that many people believe in that community was a result of blacks for the first time being a majority on the Brooks County Board of Education. And some people did not like that, and so they tried to circumvent the electoral process in the state of Georgia. Number two, the case of the Quitman 10+2 all seem to be based on the initial findings of a United States postal worker by the name of John Boone. John Boone worked at the Quitman Post Office, according to both of these court cases, and you can read about all of this in the transcript plus more. That is, if the transcript have not been altered. We are finding that in South Georgia, some transcripts are altered or does not reflect what actually happened in the courtrooms in the state of Georgia. You can get more information about that by calling the mother and father of a 14-year-old girl that has an incident at the Pine Grove Middle School in Lowndes County that the news media have refused to even report to the general public. Now back on point. In Brooks County, the initial process done by Mr. Boone at a post office is something that had practically blown our minds who sat in the courtroom. How could a postal worker in Quitman not know about the Privacy Act and that it would be wrong to take information off of personal mail, send it to or give it to a person of interest, and then over to the G.B.R. And that's what happened to initiate the curiosity because of a large number of absentee ballots. You don't know nothing about that in the general public because the news media, the television stations seem to orchestrate a campaign of keeping the people in Brooks County ignorant on the issues of the Quitman 10+2. Now, this was brought out in the court that this postal clerk did not know that taking information from an official letter, making a list, and passing it on to somebody, maybe his friends, or maybe to the Brooks County School of Education attorney, and perhaps to others. But that have been brought out in court September of last year. To our knowledge, we have not read not one piece of information about the Postmaster General. Listen again, listen. The Postmaster General of the state of Georgia or the federal postmaster in terms of if that was a violation of the law. If that is a violation of the law, and if it's not a violation of federal law, then the question should be asked by more informed men than I, that also was mishandling of official absentee ballots and obtaining personal information. Not to mention that some of the names that were on the list that this postal clerk provided in the courts had names on them, people, voters, who did not even vote by absentee ballots. Another question is about how could the absentee ballots have a stamp on it, yet the stamp was never postmarked, yet ended up in the registrar's collection of absentee ballots. Now, we know that the Brooks County attorney for the Board of Education, he told us on the stand that he paid an investigator to go out and get information. So Shaveen King asked the question, did he believe that was within his purview, or if it was legal, or if it was a conflict of interest? Now, I'm not going any further in that because all this have come out. But that alone should let the people of America know that the state of Georgia got serious problems. Have I finished yet? Nothing has been published about what I just told you, and that came out in both trials. Now, if you can imagine, number 3, the registrar of the Brooks County Board of Elections. How could it be that the high number of absentee ballots, because people chose to follow the law in the state of Georgia, how could it be that the registrar could hire her granddaughter, deputize the 2 clerks in the tax office or employed by the county to help her with the ballots, the absentee ballots? As Shaveen King asks in the second mistrial that you don't know nothing about, because all this seemingly was calculated for no news media outlet to report this to the general public. And so I'm reporting it because I served 21 years in the armed forces. I think you have a right to know. You don't know nothing about it, nor do you know anything about the registrar taking ballots from the elections office to her own home to work on them. We don't know if some of her friends was there who had an interest in the outcome of an official election for 2010. But the state Secretary of State Brian P. Kemp haven't given us any knowledge about what took place or if anybody violated the law. Haven't finished yet. Shaveen King, the attorney for the Equipment 10+2, asked another question. He wanted to know, to employ a relative for a position that they were paid, that was paid by taxpayers' funds, if that job or position was advertised, was a resume sent, and how did the process take place to hire her daughter for that position during these hard economic times when everybody needs money to take care of their families? These are valid questions that came out during the trial. Moreover, the G.B.R. agent that we heard in the first trial, the agents, their form came into question if it was a complaint form, because nothing on the form said it was a complaint form that was filed by the voters that something had happened. And so when the G.B.R. went out with this questionnaire, the actual voters who they interviewed never signed the form to acknowledge that this is what they actually said about Ms. Lula Smart or any of the Equipment 10+2. The agent signed their names, but the person did not verify nor initial that these were their words that the G.B.R. took from them. It seems as if though they want us to trust them. This is something that's already on the transcript. The only reason I'm saying it here on the Governor Nathan Deal's place of work, so you will know what took place in the courtroom that somebody just don't want you to know. And so, after the trial, I asked Sheriff Dewey if I could record so I could at least get some footage in the courtroom so you would know what took place. He told me that the circuit judge, Altman, said there could be no recording in the Brooks County courthouse. And so that's why I didn't get any footage inside the courtroom. Yet in Madison, Florida, I've recorded in the courtroom during breaks, long periods of breaks, and for lunch and after the court case was over. But it seemed that there is something strange under our form of government that they don't want the general public informed. So I just wanted to share that with you. I call this phase 1. Phase 2 will be when our elected officials that we send to the state capitol up here in Atlanta, like Governor Nathan Deal, to stand up for what is right, carry out the laws that people even before him put in place, and yet we see a pattern and practice throughout America to suppress the black vote. It's just that simple. Now, people will say that I'm playing the race card. There is no race card to play. If Governor Deal or anyone else can condemn me on the truth that I just laid out to you as a kindergarten introduction to a much larger picture, then please call me at 251-8645. Let me repeat, 229-251-8645. And leave a message. And my secretary will get back with you. We will set up a date. And you can get in front of the camera with me and we can dialogue. But you can't refute what I'm saying, because you will find this plus much, much more in the transcript of Ms. Lula Smart, one of the Quitman 10+2, after 3 years and 4 months, finally coming to trial. And this is only one of 11 more. And so we want to ask the voters of Georgia, do you want your right as a Georgia citizen? Let me repeat. Do you want your rights as a Georgia citizen to vote? Do you want to be able to use it, or do you want somebody to take it away? Think about your mother, your father, your sister, your brother that may have died on foreign battlefields to protect the rights for others, only to see the rights of the American people go down the drain because somebody don't want you to be respected as an equal. Now, for more information about the Lula Smart case, the first trial, which ended up in a mistrial, the second trial that ended up in a mistrial, and the state of Georgia, according to the prosecution, trying to get a third trial on this one case, we want you to follow the Quitman 10+2. The civil rights organizations, NAACP, SCLC, Urban League, Oprah Winfrey, 60 Minutes, 48 Hours, Dateline, and Your Line, and social media, please educate yourself about the outstanding citizens in Brooks County that was brought up on charges of alleged voter fraud and mishandling of absentee ballots. You need to look at that case. You need to follow that case. That case should be a landmark case across the United States of America, and find out why the District Attorney David Miller, Brad Shealy, and others, along with the governor of the state of Georgia, have had a hand in this case. And we all want the truth, because we all should respect and want every vote to count, not only in past elections, but in the upcoming elections. And if the people that's running for office today does not ensure and respect and hold sacred the ballot box, then why should we put them back into office? Why do I do this? Because our nation is looked up to as a beacon of hope around the world. And we must help and contribute to the founding fathers of this great republic, who gave so much for us to be known around the world. as the land of the free and the home of the brave. Former President Jimmy Carter, we thank you for your service to your nation, but we also thank Equipment 10+2 for getting people out to vote and for exercising their rights in the state of Georgia, the United States of America, and in God's world. The Ghetto Free Press, George Boston Rams, keeping you informed when others will not. Let me repeat, keeping you informed when others will not, because it seems that it's in their best interest to keep you, the citizens of Georgia, and the American citizens deaf, dumb, and blind to the times, so you will not be able to make intelligent decisions based on facts. Bye-bye, we're gone.